Hello, and thank you for joining us for a Parent Academy video about Code of Conduct, Discipline, and HIB. We hope this will help our parents better understand the processes we follow regarding student discipline and the different types of situations that may occur. This presentation will cover the details of student discipline in our schools. Before we begin, it's important for parents to understand that the majority of our discipline incidents involve students saying unkind things to one another, often related to physical appearance, race, religion, gender identity, and sexual orientation. We are hoping that by sharing this information, our parents can talk to their children about how to accept differences, how to act with kindness, and how to treat others as they would like to be treated. HIB stands for Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying. In this video, we will review what HIB is, how discipline incidents are handled in our schools, your rights as a parent, and how you can help your child avoid disciplinary situations, and how to best provide support if your child is involved in a disciplinary or HIB incident. All discipline incidents, whether they are investigated as HIB or not, are always handled first under the Code of Conduct, and appropriate consequences and remedial measures are assigned. Sometimes a Code of Conduct violation can also be a potential HIB situation and is then investigated following district HIB procedures. Whether or not an incident is ultimately determined to meet the HIB criteria does not change whether or not discipline is issued. If a discipline incident also is a confirmed HIB, additional consequences or remedial measures may be added to any consequences or remedial measures already assigned. HIB means any gesture, any written, verbal, or physical act, or any electronic communication, and it could be a single incident or a series of incidents that meets the following criteria. It's reasonably perceived as being motivated by an actual or perceived characteristic, such as race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, or a mental, physical, or sensory disability, or by any other distinguishing characteristic, and takes place on school property, at any school-sponsored function, or off school grounds as provided for in the anti-bullying law, and substantially disrupts or interferes with the orderly operation of the school or the rights of other students, and that meets one of the following criteria. A reasonable person should know, under the circumstances, that it will have the effect of physically or emotionally harming a student or damaging the student's property, or placing a student in reasonable fear of physical or emotional harm to his person or damage to his property, or it has the effect of insulting or demeaning any student or group of students, or it creates a hostile educational environment for a student by interfering with the student's education or by severely or pervasively causing physical or emotional harm to that student. When all of these criteria are met, an incident will be deemed HIB. This also encompasses cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is bullying that takes place electronically and is investigated the same way. It's very important for parents to understand that if cyberbullying occurs outside of school hours, the best thing to do is to contact the police if the cyberbullying involves threats, sexting, hate crimes, or violation of a person's privacy. The police can handle things immediately, and you can always notify the school later to let them know what has occurred. Often, it's the determination of whether a substantial disruption occurred that ultimately determines whether an incident is or is not deemed HIB. Our school anti-bullying specialist who investigates incidents of HIB will ask detailed questions to determine if there has been a substantial disruption to the operation of the school or the rights of students. Sometimes an incident can meet many of the HIB criteria, but the target of the incident is not really bothered by it. In this case, the substantial disruption criteria would not be met. This would remain a code of conduct situation, but would not be deemed HIB. When a potential HIB incident occurs and is reported, the principal has the ability to determine if an investigation is needed, or if the event does not meet HIB criteria. The principal will often consult with our anti-bullying specialist to make this determination. If the report does not fit the HIB description, an investigation is not deemed necessary, and it may still and likely still will be dealt with as a code of conduct violation. If an HIB investigation is deemed necessary, the principal will contact the parents of the victims and the aggressors, and the interview and investigation process will begin. The investigation must be completed within 10 school days. The findings of the HIB investigation are reported by the anti-bullying specialist to the principal. A report is completed by the principal and approved by the district anti-bullying coordinator and the superintendent. The superintendent will then report the finding to the board, and the board will approve the HIB finding at the next board meeting. Following that meeting, letters will be sent to the parents of the victims and the aggressors. Parents have the right to know whether their child is a potential aggressor or victim, to know a general sense of the nature of the HIB, to know a timeline of a process, and to appeal the final decision if they disagree. However, parents do not have the right to deny their child being interviewed, to sit in on the interview, to be contacted before the interview takes place, to know the other children involved, and to know the specifics of the investigation. It's also important for parents to know that if a student or parent reports a potential HIB incident, but tells the school they do not want to investigate it, the school must still investigate. There are a few reasons why an incident may not be deemed HIB. Remember, in order for a situation to be determined HIB, all of the criteria have to be met. Many times, an incident is found not to be HIB because it is actually a conflict. This occurs when things are two-sided, with more than one person equally involved. However, if the conflict is motivated by an actual or perceived characteristic, it could also become HIB. Often, an incident does not meet all of the required elements under the HIB law. At times, incidents are reported, but there is not enough evidence, whether physical or through witness statements, to confirm that the incident took place or to confirm the specific details, or there are too many inconsistencies in the investigation to determine whether an incident meets all of the HIB criteria. Now that we've covered HIB, let's briefly review our code of conduct. Our district has a general code of conduct that includes 3 key expectations. Students will be respectful of the possessions of others and of school property. Students will follow all directions and school and classroom rules, and students will treat others kindly. We believe these 3 basic principles are very easy for most students to follow and will allow us to run our schools safely and effectively every day, also allowing our teachers to maximize their instructional time by not having to interrupt teaching and learning to address behavior issues. The primary school, elementary school, and middle school each utilize a progressive code of conduct designed to guide students to become active and respectful members of our school community. Each building utilizes an age-appropriate code of conduct to proactively educate students on appropriate school behaviors and address instances of student misconduct in a progressive manner. We recognize that students are growing, maturing, and learning while making mistakes along the way. Therefore, we work to change behavior through positive reinforcement and immediate remediation. The overall goal of our code of conduct is to teach our students appropriate school behaviors through modeling and discussion. Punitive consequences are used for serious infractions only. When an incident involving your child occurs, it's important to follow the chain of command. You can do this by communicating at the source. For example, if the incident occurred in the classroom, begin by reaching out to the teacher. If the situation is not resolved, then follow up with the principal. Talking to the person most closely involved will help you assess the situation better. Remember, all children, no matter how well behaved, will experience normal developmental behavior. If the school contacts you to let you know your child has violated the code of conduct, the best thing you can do is listen with an open mind. As educators, we seek to help students learn from their choices and the mistakes they make so they can grow and not make the same mistakes again. As parents, we know your first priority is your child, and we are here as partners in their growth and development. We ask you to please trust that we would not call you to report that your child has been involved in an incident if we did not have reasonable evidence and information to support that. Please familiarize yourself with your child's school's code of conduct, which can be found on our district website. Reviewing this and all appropriate behavior expectations can help to ensure a successful and productive school year for your child. Again, your support is so important to what we do every day in our schools. We are tasked with bringing together hundreds of children from diverse backgrounds every day. In order for us to be successful in educating students and helping them to reach their fullest potential, we need our students to be able to coexist peacefully. The more you talk to your child about behavior expectations, the more successful this school year will be for everyone. As parents, monitoring your child's social media and screen time can prevent certain incidents from occurring. Remembering that we all serve as models for our children is important. Children watch what we do and how we act and react. Finally, just as we will protect the confidentiality of your child, we cannot disclose any information about other children to you. We know parents always want to know specific details about situations that occur, but we are limited in what we are able to share. Again, we thank you for watching this presentation. For more information regarding HIB and the Code of Conduct, please see these sections of our website at www.upperschools.org. Thank you again, and we're looking forward to a fantastic school year.